All right, y'all. Coming up next, we've got the ultimate road trip, your roadmap to optimizing the customer journey. We've got Greg Zakowitz coming to us from OmniSend, Gavin Sherry coming to us from Bloomreach, and also Chelsea Milonas coming to us from our own MailJet, Mailgun, and Email Nasted, Cinch Email side of the house. So everyone, let's go ahead and get them in here, shall we? All right, so let's go ahead and get Chelsea in here. Guys, let's see some reactions in the chat. Y'all excited for this next panel coming up? Let's see it. Let's see it. All right, love to see it. All right, cool. What's going on, Chelsea?
Hey, Thomas, how are you?
Not bad. Looks like you got Stonehenge. How's it over there?
It's great.
Gavin, how's it going?
Here too.
Yeah.
Hey, Thomas, how you doing? Hey, Chelsea. I'm at Stonehenge too.
Good to see it. Awesome. Let's see. Where's Greg? I think Greg should be here in just a moment. Let's see. There we go. Okay, let me get your presentation queued up. Greg, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Hey, it's finally working. I'm not in Stonehenge. Look at that.
Love it. Okay, cool. And then here y'all go. Here's your lovely deck. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, so please save your questions towards the end of the Q&A, and I will go ahead and let our awesome presenters go ahead and take over. See y'all in a moment.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. We're super excited to be here today to talk all things kind of customer lifecycle. I think the best place to kind of get us started and kick it off is looking at the trends in the data that we're seeing for the first half of the year. Greg, I know you guys just released your report on the 2022 first half on email, SMS, and push marketing. Could you take us through some of what you're seeing? Any big insights or takeaways as we're heading into that busy holiday season and the end of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for the time to be here. And I'm going to try to blow through my slides pretty quickly. I love the conversation part of these things, so I want to kind of shift over there as quick as I possibly can. So Chelsea, as you mentioned, there's our contact info. We'll get you that later too. So as Chelsea mentioned, we just put out a first half 2022 report. We put these out every single year, halfway report and then full year report. They're not gated, by the way. So if you want some more context, narrative stats, you can just go over to our website under the report section. You'll find it. I want to pull a couple of the stats out that really hone in on the customer journey. And this is where marketing automation across multiple channels really come in. So you don't have to study this slide. Just shift to the left side of the screen real quick. And what you're looking at is types of emails, the very top line of your campaign emails. Think about these from ones you schedule every day of the week. So Tuesday, Thursday, these are the ones you blast out. And then below that are your automated lifecycle messages. And you can see the drastic difference in conversion rate between these. So when we talk about conversions on these charts, we're talking about orders based on emails sent, not open. We have those broken down for you as well. Ultimately, what you have to look at is the bottom is a lot bigger than the very top one, right? And even the worst performing one performs so much better. And the reason for this is they are behavior-based messages. So they're only triggering and sending when a customer is taking some sort of action in that customer journey. And that could be abandoning a shopping cart. It could be not buying, or signing up for an email program. The automation, in my view, is essential for brands to really maximize the revenue and to improve the customer journey going here. And you can see the first half of this year, 29% of all email orders coming on automated messages, less than 2% of sends. That's pretty consistent year over year. So the power is in the automation to improve that customer journey. But not all automations created equal. So we have 88% of those automated orders from 3 series of messages. Welcome series. We're going to talk a little bit about that today because it's a really important one. Browse and product abandonment and cart abandonment. Really what we're looking at here is high intent. What is the intent of the customer who is taking whatever action they're taking at that moment? So cart abandonment, pretty obvious. We put a product in a cart. The intention is they're going to buy something, whether from you or someone else. Browse product, they're browsing something in your website. So something in their life is taking them there. They're checking it out. They might buy now, they might buy later, but they're interested. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on your website. And then welcome series, obviously, there's nothing more high intent, maybe outside of actually purchasing a product that says, hey, I'm interested in buying something from your brand in a welcome series. So when they're signing up for your email and SMS, through, whether it's a pop-up or whatever sort of data collection you're using there to grow your list, it's going to be impactful. So if you're looking for a place to start or looking for a place to optimize, these are the three I would start with. And then this goes beyond just the email side itself as well. So I'm going to save this only for mostly the Q&A portion if anyone's interested in SMS. But we're at a state now where SMS and email, they go in the same automated workflows together. So when you're collecting emails and mobile numbers at the exact same time on the pop-up form, we can now have a workflow that says, hey, we're going to do email only for these email only subscribers, SMS only for the SMS. And then people that have opted into both, we can customize that customer journey through those lifecycle workflows as well. So that's really important. But you could see the massive growth here in SMS over the last couple of years. You can see the growth in automation as well. I do want to note that the 10% drop year over year in automation this year is somewhat misleading. So we had a massive growth last year. Performance is actually better. So conversion rate for those automated ones, they've almost doubled, 42% increase year over year. And then it's actually driven nearly 20% more orders year over year as well. So there's a lot of power in these messages. I think brands are just recognizing where to put the automated messages. But we've seen growth. We've seen massive increase in the power of automation over the years. I mentioned Welcome Series being one of those. I do want to talk about Welcome Series a lot today. I think Gavin has some stuff on Welcome Series. So I'm going to kick it over to you, Gavin, to kind of run with this thing. And then I'll see everyone back here for Q&A and general conversation.
Thanks, Greg. And hello, everybody. Really lovely to be with you all. Some great statistics. The 88% of the automated revenue coming from just 3 automations. That's fantastic. And that's also what we're seeing. Next slide, please, Chelsea. So this is a matrix that I use with my clients. And we measure these automations across 2 important parameters: their ability to generate revenue and their ability to generate engagement. And by engagement, we mean open click. And we see in the top right quadrant, the high performing automations for both revenue and engagement. And of course, working with clients, they are all over abandoned basket, abandoned browse. Welcome, though, typically I need to encourage them that when this program is done well, the Welcome can generate some serious revenue. And Welcome, some of the statistics I've been comparing with Greg, accounts for 36.4% of all email orders generated by automations. And that's a huge number, probably second only to the abandoned cart. And why are we not prioritizing the design of the Welcome? It seems as if many clients are in a rush to just get that thank you for signing up message out of the way and get the customers into their normal broadcast. And I don't understand why we would do that, because we know the performance of your normal broadcast. We equally know the higher conversions that come through Welcome, but also the value of a well-designed Welcome program. Let's see if we can have a look at that. The next slide, I'm saying we need to build out the ultimate journey for a new customer. So this is where you can sit down with pen and paper and decide what would be the ultimate journey of a new customer. What actions would they complete? So you want them to click, you want them to browse, put something in the cart, make that first purchase. Maybe you want them to create an account. Maybe you want them to join your loyalty club. Maybe sign up for a free delivery pass, collect first-party data. There's maybe you want them to download your app, follow you on the social spaces. There's a lot that a customer can do, and it's up to your Welcome program to design and prompt in the right order. And you need to, in step 2, you need to look at the list of all the actions you want your customer to take and then overlay it with key messages. So you've got to get that hello and welcome message in. You maybe want to reference delivery and return informations. Perhaps you've got finance partners like Klarna. Maybe you've got great information on sustainability. And so you need to look at all the actions you want a new customer to undertake, overlay it with the key messages that you need to make, and then in step 3, we need to map all of that in a prioritized way in terms of the content that's going into the welcome program. So already we're looking at a multi-wave email automation that is welcome. And you've got to be thinking, well, what data do we hold that can help personalize the content? Do we have their name? Okay, we can use their name in the first hello introduction. Did they browse the website? Maybe we can be showcasing some of the categories based on their browse data. And ultimately, then you need to look at what are the conversion points within the welcome. Obviously, a purchase is one. What if they haven't engaged in the content on joining the loyalty initiative? Maybe that's a key, maybe your data shows that that's a key reason for bringing in higher lifetime value from a customer. So we'll serve them that content up again in maybe email 4. And this approach to building a welcome program, it's multi-wave, identify all the actions that a potential new customer can undertake, overlay it with your key messages, begin to map that into a framework of emails. That's how we go about building the ultimate welcome program for a new customer.
Awesome. Thanks, Gavin. Looking over this information, what do you think organizations are missing when it comes to the welcome series? What are the opportunities that you see missed a lot, or kind of the common mistakes that you see?
Generally, they're in too much of a rush to get them out of the welcome and into their normal broadcast. But what Greg showed us, and what I know from working with clients at Bloomreach, is the newsletters, the broadcasts, their conversion rates are significantly lower than welcome. And welcome's a much nicer experience for a new customer. The frequency is much more controlled. There's much more thought to what actions do we want the new customer to undertake. We're going to introduce new categories. We're going to, if there's any click behavior, we'll bring that into the next email. It's really important to say that in email marketing, a click is as valuable a piece of data as browse data. So generating those first clicks, and you have to take time. You have to take time. If it's a one email initiative to say welcome, well, you've missed some opportunities to get to know your new customer, to profile them, profiling what type of content they're engaged in by those initial clicks.
Awesome. I saw a question come up in the chat, and I think I'm going to throw it in here because I think it's a really good one. A lot of what we were talking about here is around the welcome series, driving conversion. What about welcome series after conversions for a subscription? Okay,
well, here we still have a new customer. They've made a purchase, so that's great. We hold a vital piece of information. So there's another life cycle. There's more email content comes in. It's a welcome and a thank you for that first purchase. But we still have to. We probably don't have much in the way of first-party data. So we need to take the time to collect their birthday, give them the opportunity to engage in more content, categories we'd recommend based on that first purchase. There's going to be absolute recommendations. Our algorithms can do this, can make the recommendations based on that first purchase, that there's a high propensity to engage in these types of products. So it's great we have that first purchase, but we still don't know much about the customer, and we need to take the time to profile them. What are their interests? Collecting some first-party data, and then overlaying what do we want them to do. We want them to download the app. That's shown to be a much better experience, or we've got higher conversions coming from the app. So there's still the emphasis is profiling your new customer.
Awesome.
Yeah, if I could jump in here real quick as well, while you're collecting that data, there's other things that you can do as well to create a better customer journey when we're talking about like post-purchase type things. So you think about, I'll give you a great example of just myself, but one of my COVID purchases was a baking steel, right? So it's like a baking stone, but a big piece of like hunk of steel. I don't know the first thing about making pizza. So I bought it. They've got a couple message post-purchase series, which is super helpful because they think about what do I need as a customer to make my experience better. So first email is their pizza dough recipe, 72-hour pizza dough. And it's a simple recipe and there's a video with how to do it. And they have live classes and things like this, but it gives me recipes. It helps me utilize that purchase product better, but also makes them, in my eyes, the expert. So what am I going to do next time I need a recipe for something with a griddle or whatever? Then they have a follow-up email, but they have different ones based on, they sell griddles as well. So if you have a griddle, it'll get you kind of that griddle series, but they're sending just a couple of emails about how do I make Greg's purchase experience better based on what he bought from us. And I think those are low-hanging fruit opportunities that are woefully underutilized, but you can send those, collect data while you're doing the other data collection and blend those messages that Gavin just talked about as well. And I think you can craft yourself a pretty simple, at least to start, post-purchase series that does enhance the customer purchase experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's, what are we, once we have that customer, how do we make them a happier customer? How do we make them a stickier customer? How do we make their experience with whatever they've purchased better? So all great points there. Greg, I want to jump back to some of the data that you shared earlier, specifically around the increase that we're seeing around SMS marketing kind of year over year. Any insight why we're seeing that? Or are we seeing an increase in volume of messages sent? Are we also seeing an increase in kind of the performance that we're seeing from that type of messaging?
Yeah, it's kind of across the board. I think the reason we'll tackle that one first is it's ubiquitous. Like everyone texts, right? So, a couple of years ago, I've been doing SMS programs with clients for probably going back 8-9 years now. The adoption then to now is ridiculous, right? It's much more prominent the last 3 years. It used to be the generational cohort conversations, like, oh, only Gen Zers text or only millennials text. Everyone texts and everyone gets them. I was visiting my mother over the holidays and we're laying around on a lazy day and her phone's ringing because that's what she does, right? Everything, something happens, there's like a loud noise that goes off. And then she's reading her text out loud and they're from brands. And I'm like, all right, my mother, who is a baby boomer, is, signing up for marketing texts. And it's just ubiquitous. Everyone texts. So I'd say if someone pushes back and say it's a generational cohort conversation, I would push back on them and say, no, it's not. Simple way to figure that out is just include mobile number with your pop-up. And if they don't sign up, that's your indication that your audience doesn't like it. So that's the reason for the adoption, in my opinion. So the second part is, are we seeing the performance of those messages improve? And I would say for the most part, yes. You get the natural for your SMS campaigns, your schedule, just one-off messages. They've come down a little bit the first half of this year compared to last year, but they're right there. The drop is pretty negligible, but a lot of times you get that when you see a massive increase in sends. So that's not atypical. The automation I mentioned is where we're seeing the improvement come up. So, last year we saw the improvement and there was almost, I think it was 260% increase in automated sends last year compared to the year before. We're on par. 10% down this year. That's going to pick up the second half of the year. It's what we've trended, but I quickly shot over it. That 10% down in automations, it's still a lot of SMS. We're talking about millions of SMS, but the conversion rate went up 42% year over year on that. So I think what brands are realizing is, automated emails work. It helps people engage because they're naturally relevant. If they sign up for SMS too, if you automate that, your SMS is naturally relevant at the same time, right? You just time those. That's why we're seeing conversion rates go up. And even though the sends are down, year over year, orders themselves from SMS have increased 20%. So, I think we're just getting started with SMS, to be honest with you. But I think I said it last year and I'll double down on it this year. If you're not doing it by this time next year, you're going to be behind your competitors. And I think a lot of people are behind now, but it's so much easier to do now and to manage.
Given that so many companies are investing more in SMS and concentrating there, any recommendations, Greg or Gavin, on how an organization can kind of adapt their strategy or stand out above the noise with so many companies doing similar things?
Yeah, I'll jump in first quickly, and then I'll shift it over to you, Gavin, if you got some have some insights there as well. I think the easy way to start, I mentioned, if you just ask for mobile, like you can collect mobile numbers and not be ready to launch, and that's okay. So collect it on your pop-up forms. You can collect the email address. That's one, your indication about whether people will want it. Two, the easy place to start then is not to worry about the batch and blast SMS messages, but put them in the welcome message, the welcome series automation, right? You know they're signing up. It's going to be the first thing they're doing. You can automate it. So it's not set and forget, but it runs in the background. Automations are the easy way to plug it in because you know the message you need to send at that point, you know the timing of it, and you know how to construct that message. And then you can kind of build out from there. So it doesn't have to be, 100 miles an hour right from the get-go. You can dabble into it, build up, and figure out if it's going to be worthwhile for you or not. And ultimately, if you decide it's not because it's the audience, products, whatever it might be, it's got to be a way to use it. And maybe that's just order and shipping confirmation type stuff where, you enhance it a little bit. But it's an easy low-hanging fruit place to start, in my opinion.
I would say with the design of any new journey, customer journey, I would take a look at what some of the brands that you individually love, what are they doing? So lots of big brands out there, they will have put their heart and soul into this. So whether it's getting inspired by an email welcome program or what that first experience by SMS is like, I'd be looking at what's Apple doing, what's Levi doing, what's Harley Davidson doing, because you can be guaranteed they have put blood, sweat, and tears into making that a good experience. So just sign yourself up to whether it's an email for a welcome journey or give them your mobile for SMS and get inspiration from there.
Awesome. I saw a great question. I'm going to jump into one of the questions that came through. I think this is for you, Greg, and some of the stats that you shared. Do you see any major differences in the numbers when looking at them B2B versus B2C?
A little bit tough to say, to be honest with you. So OmniSend is an e-commerce specific platform. So the majority of our customers are e-commerce specific. Having consulted B2B companies before, SMS probably a little bit tough to give you anything of substance there. But I think it depends on the products you're selling. So if you're a B2B, but you're selling widgets, right, pens, whatever, something consumable, I think you're probably going to fall in the same line. You're going to find welcomes to still do well for you because it's more transactional in nature. You're going to find abandoned carts to do well for you. So you'll continue. Birthday messages probably a little less so, right? It's B2B, but I think those tried and true ones where you see the majority of those sales coming from automated messages will kind of go hand in hand. If you're a SaaS company, right, I probably would not expect your welcome series to really do a lot. It's still worthwhile, but it's not going to be the main driver, right? We're talking about something that's more than maybe a couple $100. We're talking about software, maybe year-long contract, whatever it might be. So I think you're probably left to more different devices there for major substance. But for the most part, I think you're going to see relative alignment there as long as the product and the intent is there. But
guys, we got a burning question here. So someone wanted to know, is there just one customer journey? When do you split into segmented lists and different paths? What do you think about that?
No, there's lots of customer journeys, and the data can help drive the content within the email accordingly. So that's it at its smartest. That if somebody has already signed up for the loyalty club, we don't need to show them the reminder of that in a further email. And the welcome series will come to an end, and when it does, you should have an exit strategy for, okay, they haven't made their conversion. We'll leave them in broadcast emails for 3 weeks, and then we'll bring them into an initiative to see if we can really get them across the line with that first conversion. So there's more than one journey, and the journey doesn't end.
Yeah, I'll try to tweet it out later. So I did this slide for a presentation probably 5 years ago about the customer journey, and it was just a bunch of squiggles on there, right, and paths going all over the place. And I'm like, here's your modern day customer journey. I'll tweet that out later. I completely agree with Gavin, right? It's going to be unique. The way I look at automation, and this is not the the full-fledged strategy, but I look at automation as kind of the new form of segmentation, right? We know they're behavior-based, we know they're relevant, we know we can customize. Gavin mentioned click behavior before, right? You're segmenting based on clicks and activity and interest, and the segmentation is still important and still vital in the journey. But if you utilize the automation, we know it's driving sales, but those messages are naturally segmented based on the actions. And I think it's a kind of a different spin on how to look at it. Don't ignore the other stuff, but it's an easy way to kind of start to get the ball rolling.
Gotcha. All right. Chelsea, did you want to add anything to that one?
No, I mean, same. I think that's, and there's been a lot of talk in the previous sessions today around personalization and making sure that the right messages are hitting people at the right time. So I think there's a lot of different journeys, and it's trying to understand, what is the end goal for the customer? What are we trying to get them to do, and make sure that we're sending them the right messages.
Gotcha. Okay, and then moving on to another one. Someone wanted to know, Risto wanted to know, what is a good ratio between selling emails and providing value emails and other kind of emails?
So I'll jump in. Everyone's quiet. So I don't look at a perfect ratio. I never have when I was consulting clients as well. I think what I always tell them is don't fit a square peg into a round hole, right? Mm-hmm. So emails are an opt-in marketing channel. It is a marketing channel, so don't be scared to sell there. But there's going to be instances where there's nothing wrong with some informational emails, especially if you're selling some sort of widgets, right? They don't need to be in your face selling, but hey, new product or whatever. It's this, and this is where a lot of your automation, like Gavin mentioned the welcome series before, you're introducing product lines or you're introducing categories or introducing whatever, right? Think about those value adds that might matter, or animal cruelty free and things like this. So you can introduce that. Don't be scared to sell, but don't feel you have to sell. I think post-purchase is a good instance where talked about, hey, it's a recipe. You're not selling me anything. Those things convert like gangbusters though, right? So you can still generate sales if you do those messages well, but I don't have a specific ratio I look for or never have. Just don't force it, would be my advice.
I agree with Greg, and I think it's going to be different within each organization and actually with each customer. The customer will let you know what is the right mix of content they're getting between heavily sales, promotional. They'll start tuning out. And that's when you have to, okay, we can't keep just selling. So what happens when we introduce a much more relaxed Friday email with engaging editorial content, perhaps a competition? Is that what people are wanting? And it's something that especially high frequency senders have to bear in mind. And that is, if you are pumping out lots of broadcasts, it's a very repetitive experience if it's just selling. So the data, when you look into the metrics, you'll see the declining engagement metrics saying we're selling too much. We need to change things up a bit. We need to be populating our communications with our customers with something other than just a sale or a promotion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's, you kind of have to earn the right to sell, and by providing some sort of value so that, customers have that association with your brand, and it's not every email or every communication I'm getting from them is trying to sell something. I'm actually seeing some value in what they're sending, either that's content or something. There needs to be a pretty good balance there. Otherwise, you're just kind of losing your audience.
Fair enough. Okay, guys, we got one more. This one comes from Ayala. And she wanted to know, do you think we should pause marketing emails until they finish the welcome journey?
Yes. Very clear. Yes. The automations have higher conversion rates. In fact, Greg's established that. I support that completely. And if a customer is going to receive more than one email in the day, but they're only going to open one email, you want it to be that one that's the high conversion possibility. So to receive a welcome email and on the same day receive a normal broadcast, that isn't a great experience. So I would let them develop. You've hopefully designed a well thought out welcome program where there's distinct actions you want them to take. I wouldn't agree with overlaying other marketing messages. And that thought, if they're only going to open one email and engage with one email today, we want it to be that particular welcome or that particular abandoned cart.
So 2 things super quick. One, I think you hit on the most important point there, Gavin, is a well thought out series, right? Make sure it's doing what you want to do. A lot of people just come to do this check the box thing and they don't think it's well thought out. And that's why. So I love the fact you said that, Gavin. Chelsea, I want to ask you real quick, when you sign up for emails, do you like getting marketing emails and welcome at the same time?
No, I prefer to go through the whole series and then get marketing. I like the little bit of control over what that initial experience looks like before I'm kind of getting inundated with other messages.
100% alignment then.
Perfect.
I love it. Interviewing each other. That's even better.
That's what we're here for.
Love it. Love it. Love it, guys. Perfect. Everyone, Gavin, Chelsea, Greg, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us. Gavin, always super happy to have you come back for email camp. Greg and Chelsea, I'm glad you got to do your first ones with us. Awesome job. Do you guys have anything you want to leave us before you head out?
Chelsea, go ahead.
No, just thanks for being here. I think our contact information was on the initial slide. So if you have any other questions or follow-up, feel free to reach out to any of us. Happy to chat.
Reach out to me. I'm an open book, so you can find me, and be kind to one another, please.
For sure. Wise words from Greg. Also wanted to add, Greg, I love your Twitter handle. What's Greg doing? Be sure to give him a follow there. It's pretty awesome. So love it.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, Gavin, Greg, Chelsea, again, thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you guys soon. Gavin, hope to see you over in Dublin if I get to make it over to Mog in the next spring. So hope to see you soon, man. Everyone.
I would love that. Yeah.
Heck yeah, love it.
The Guinness will be on me.
Sounds good, my friend. Everyone, let's get some reactions for our wonderful panelists and give them a wave, and we'll see them soon. Guys, thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
See you guys.